Thanks for joining us, Barry Silkman. I'm very glad to see you hale and hearty. I hope your arm has recovered. You had an arm injury. I'm very glad to see you. We'll not ask you to show us your scars, but let me start with Roman Abramovich. Just exactly what did Abramovich do wrong in Britain beyond making Chelsea a power in world football, for which I'll never forgive him?
Evening, George, everyone. I was hoping you could tell me, George, because I haven't got a clue. Other than being Russian, I've got no idea. I mean, what it's got to do with sport, I don't know. I suppose sport now, as we spoke about before, is now a business. So he doesn't come under a sport anymore. He comes under a business. What he's done wrong? Well, your guess is as good as mine, George. I have no idea.
No, I mean, I'm not a fan of Chelsea, as I've just made clear, and I'm even less of a fan of Roman Abramovich. But I'm asking myself, I've asked you, and you don't know, and I don't know, and we're two pretty savvy guys, just exactly what did Abramovich do to get witch hunted out of the game, out of the club that he's spent billions on building, not just building on the park, building in the academy, building in the locality, and now he's no more. They're going to have to find, it's a fire sale, Barry. They're going to find some other dodgy character down an alley. I don't know, what's his name? Only Fools and Horses. Trotter's Independent.
We're looking for Del Boy. We're looking for Del Boy. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, George,
how will that work?
I've got to tell you, Abramovich for Chelsea, not just the football club, for the community, has been amazing. I mean, what he's done there is unbelievable. And, you know, even with all this, I'd call it a semi-witch hunt, I would say, is about the appropriate words for me. Forget what he bought the club for, forget what he's put into the club. The club actually owe him 1.5 billion as a business. And he has even said, whoever buys the club, I'm not interested in taking my loan back. I'm only interested in Chelsea going forward, which shows the mark of the man, because it doesn't matter how much money you've got. There's not many people who would walk away from 1.5 billion. And he has, which I find that remarkable. I'm not sure who's going to buy it. I don't think, George, in my heart of hearts, it's going to be an individual. I think it's going to have to be some kind of consortium, whether it's 2, 3, 4, or 5 people, I'm not sure. But I can't see another Roman Abramovich coming along again. I can't see it. And obviously, it's going to have to be either a group of Americans, group of Saudi Arabians, because I'm not really sure who can afford to buy it and then put the money in that Roman has put into to maintain the standards of the club.
Exactly. I mean, lucky Chelsea. Manchester United is owned by a group of Americans. I have no idea if they've ever done any bad things, but I do know that Manchester United are massively in debt because they purchased the club using debt rather than their own money.
Correct.
Other teams, Sheffield United and Newcastle United, are both owned by the same family that runs Saudi Arabia, the country that cut the head off my friend Jamal Khashoggi, the Washington Post columnist. Where are we going to stop with all of this? Are we going to start looking at the political views? I have no idea what Abramovich's political views are, by the way, in England. I know what they were in Russia. He's now in Israel, where he's a citizen, and we won't go to what his politics are there. But My point is, if we start hunting down the politics of every owner of every top football club, it's not going to finish at Chelsea.
Well, I've got to say, George, you've even got a situation, let's say, at Bournemouth, who could find themselves in the Premier League, and their owner, I believe he's got a British passport, but is Russian. And as you say, if we start to hound down everyone, would the people at Newcastle actually been able to get the club? I mean, I know it took them a long time to pass the fit and proper test, but they were part, as you say, of a family that did what they did. Abramovich, as far as I know, is not part of the family in Russia. He just happens to be Russian. Well, if you're born Russian and Russia do something that the rest of the world don't approve of, which, by the way, I'm not getting into politics, but I think there's a lot more behind this than what meets the eye, but that's another matter. Are you a criminal? Because he's been treated worse than Fred West. I mean, it's unbelievable. I have to say, I'm with you, George. Where does it stop? Because if this is only the beginning, what happens next?
Exactly so. Exactly so. As I say, I hold no candle at all for Abramovich. Quite the contrary. But he's never done anything in Britain that was wrong. And he's done a lot of good in Britain, in London, in Chelsea, for football. So there's a sense of injustice about it all. But mind you, when Tchaikovsky, who died 130 years ago, can be banned by the by the Cardiff Philharmonic, and when Dostoevsky, who died 150 years ago, can be banned at the University of Milan, it seems like it is open season on Russians. What about the UEFA and the FIFA decisions? They were pretty quick to take a political decision to ban Russia and Russian clubs and sponsorship. Gazprom must be feeling pretty sore after all the billions they gave to UEFA. Now they're out on their backside.
Well, do you want my honest opinion, George?
Always.
All too quick, George. It was as though they were sitting, waiting. They have taken sides very quickly. They have not even looked at what this whole situation is really about. They've just made a decision based on I don't know what. That is my personal opinion. They've made a decision on don't know what, and they've decided if you happen to be Russian, you are now you're a mass murderer. You just got to be Russian. So if you're Russian, you're bang in trouble. It doesn't matter what good you've done. It doesn't matter how lovely a person you are. It doesn't matter how much you've helped other people, how much you've helped charities. Whatever you've done in your life, you're now public enemy number one because you happen to have been born in Russia. Now, if you can tell me that is morally correct and legally correct, we might as well all pack the game in, George.
Yeah, you're right. Abramovich could well have challenged all of this legally. He would undoubtedly have won. But it seems that he's scunnered by the whole thing, to use a Scottish word. He's had enough. So much so he's going to walk away without 1.5 billion pounds that he's owed. So it's very sad, but I will be talking more regularly now. We're going to start this football podcast. We're going to pick your brains about the current state of football and footballers. We're not going to ask you for any professional confidences or even tips to bet on, although I might do that behind the scenes. We're going to explore things about football in our football podcast that don't often get explored. Most football podcasts are about he went down the right, he crossed it over, the lad nodded it in. We're going deeper. We're going deeper than that. We're going behind the scenes, as it were. I'm looking forward to it. Are you?
Really looking forward to it, George. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be different because a lot of people, as you say, they don't get asked the questions that they should be asked. Everything is very much what everyone already knows. Let's put it that way. We'll be going into territory that will give people an insight, and if you like, an education about football and about what really happens with football and what happens in football clubs, players' mentalities, managers' mentalities, and the decisions that are made. The normal supporters, they just see what the media presents or what they know or what they perceive to know. Normally, the reality is something completely different.
Absolutely, as I know from conversation with you many a time. Thanks for joining us, Barry, especially when City are playing in the Champions League, but then the game was already won before the second leg.
That was one. I've been watching Real Madrid and PSG, and PSG were leading 1-0 from the first leg. They went one up, and Real Madrid have just equalised. So it's going to be one hell of a
wow! How dramatic a finish that is, Barry. Thanks very much indeed for joining us on the Mother of All Talk Shows. God bless you.